I'm being Bill Boorman, which means I do four things. So I work on product with 3 startups in the recruitment technology space, one in San Francisco, one in Finland, and one in Norwich, which is interesting enough. I work on implementation of social recruiting projects I've just completed with the BBC. Before that was Oracle Global, and the one before that was Hard Rock Cafe. I speak at events and I produce content for people, so which is kind of an interesting world. But I used to have a real job. I don't consider what I do to be work anymore. It's stuff that I get paid for. But I had a real job, which was working in recruiting. I was a director of a recruitment company for 12 and a half years, national recruitment business. Straight after that, I had a traditional recruitment training company. Great for 4 years, 1 year recession, went completely out of business, lost everything. Needed to pretend I was busy for a year, so I discovered social media. This was the easiest way I could sit at the screen and pretend I was working. In the process of doing that, I spend a lot of time, one of the areas I look at is technology and applications. And as a recruiter, first and foremost, everything that I look at is how, doesn't matter whether it's a recruiting technology or not, is how can we use this to actually recruit or segment people. So I've selected, there are hundreds, I've selected 14 cool recruiting tools from a technology point of view. Probably a bit of a contradiction, because I'd start by saying, in my opinion, there are no cool tools, there's just cool people who use them. And what the challenge is figuring out how do I use this for what I've got to do. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the tools, but more about how we use them and what the thinking is behind them and what works for them. All of the presentations are available online. You just need to go to Bill Boorman and Prezi and you'll find them. So this is really my sources toolbox. I'm going to start off with the recruiter bar. Right? So anyone who recruits, you don't need to know about Boolean search or anything like that, because there's plenty of technology that will do it for you. The people who tell you you need to know about Boolean search and everything else are generally trainers who are trying to sell you a sourcing service, and they're trying to sell you a sourcing service because that's how they make money, and the way in which they make money is by sounding like it's real complicated and wizardry. None of this stuff is. It's really simple, otherwise I couldn't operate it. The recruiter bar has 50 preloaded searches, so it's got 50 Boolean strings written in it. It's a free download, so everything I'm going to talk to you about today is free unless I tell you otherwise, and I'll tell you the price of it. You can set your own locations of where you want to look by keywords and stuff, so you're building your own Boolean searches in free text. It's updated in real time, so if Google changes something with their algorithm, we're constantly changing what the guys in Google do, then the toolbar will be changed. It does a web and social search, so it will search the websites that you want to preload, like LinkedIn or wherever you want to go, and it'll also do a social search of Twitter and Facebook and any social medias. And there's about 100 add-ons and tools and downloads which are useful for recruiters that you can download. You have an advert on the toolbar that you put on, so that's kind of the price you pay for using that toolbar, and there's free webinars on there as well. But I think that's pretty, it was developed by a guy called Ryan Leary, who is the head of sourcing for Connector, and I think it's a pretty cool tool for a free one that anyone in resources should actually have. Second one is the Social CV, which is a paid-for product that was developed in London and sold and acquired by Dice about 3 months ago for just over $20 million. So it's a pretty cool tool. What it does is semantic data aggregation. What that means is it pulls all the information from, once it finds you in a candidate in one place, it will then match their profiles and bring them all into one searchable database. So they have about 130 million profiles on there for people. It's UK-centric because it was built out of the UK. Most of the clever sourcing stuff is US-centric, so we sometimes find that that's not great for us. The best thing about it is if you export, how I like to use it is if you take all the information in your ATS, essentially if you put a CV in your ATS, it's out of date the day you put it in, unless you put something in to keep it current. So by exporting all your data, you're getting the latest information, which is email addresses, tweets, anything that's going on, anything that's taken out as professional information from those screens. You can connect it up with social accounts, and you can actually search in 328 countries they've got candidates from. So I think that's pretty cool, and that they add about 5 million profiles a month of different people based on the searches that you do. So you know, I like the guy who built it, who's Bill Fisher, but I think that one is one that's definitely worth a look. Second one is a Chrome app. I use a lot of Chrome extensions from the Chrome store. They're free. This one I love from a sourcing point of view. It's called Who Works At. What you do with Who Works At is any web page that you look at, it will tell you how you're connected with the people at that company. So it will just show you all the LinkedIn profiles of anyone you're connected with who works at the company on that particular website. So from a sourcing or talent mapping point of view, makes it very easy to say, right, these are the 20 companies I want to look at, these are the people I'm connected with, and it goes down to third degree connections. So it will search your connections and their connections to say, these are all the people you can reach within the company. So you can pretty much, once you start making a few connections in the organisations you want to hire from, you can pretty much map out any organisation you want to hire from Who Works At. And it gives you the route to your second and third degree connections. So it shows you the person, shows you how you're connected. So you've got the middle person to actually introduce through. And it covers Twitter and it's Twitter connections and LinkedIn within that. So I think for a free one in Chrome, that's good. Triangulate. Twitter is a channel which I think frustrates a lot of sources. And I don't look on Twitter as an engagement channel. I think it's brilliant for that, in that it's the channel where you can introduce people. What we should be looking at Twitter for as recruiters is Twitter is the stalking channel. Because it's the easiest channel to identify people on if you identify them by searching for content, not for bios. If you recruit C++, if you need C++ programmers and you search Twitter bios for C++ programmers, the only thing you will get back is recruiters who recruit C++ programmers. So bio searches are not effective. So what we're looking for in Twitter is to find geek words. Geek words are those words that one recruiter, one programmer would say to another, which the rest of the world wouldn't say. If you just sit at a Reconverse event, because we all work in talent acquisition or recruiting, without even knowing it, we're using geek words that say these people work in the recruitment space. And anyone who works in the space that heard us would be able to say, yeah, I know what they do. Anyone who doesn't would say, I don't really know what they mean by that. So it's taking the words and context and being able to search for them on Twitter. And I'll show you a couple of apps for doing that. What Triangulate does is if I find somebody who I want to connect with, who I don't know on Twitter, I put their Twitter handle in the bar. It's just a three space bar, and it tells me who I'm connected with, who has the closest relationship with me and the closest relationship with them. So it tells me who the middle person is, who can be my introducer, which is very often what we need, a third party to say, talk to this guy, talk to this girl, they're pretty cool, get involved in the conversation. And how it works out who the person you're closest to within their followers is, and within your followers, is the number of individual interactions, the @ messages, the conversations that you've had. It also shows you, or your mutual followers, you've got 100 people in common, so you're going to be in the same place, you're going to get on. It tells you mutual lists, you're both listed on this list, you've got things in common, and it gives what it calls the inner circle. These are the people you're closest to, these are the people they're closest to who are having conversations. So it's a free app, and I just think I think it's pretty cool to use for that kind of thing. Next one we're going to bang up. When we get there. Get close to we know. Done that one. Right. The next one is Google Plus Air. Right. Google Plus Air and the video people will hate me for saying this, but Google Plus Air is a fantastic video interviewing tool or video conferencing tool, right? What Google Plus Hangout enables you to run open or private interviews or broadcast conferences. So we do stuff.
Is that live?
It's live. It's live, but you can do it in private if you do it through a Hangout where you only have one person invited. So that's pretty easy from that point of view. But we use it a lot for content because you can have anyone anywhere in the world involved in the conversation. It's pretty stable because the Google folk built it. And you can actually take the viewer and embed it in any website. So you can, including your Facebook fan page. So you can broadcast a conversation between, for instance, I was involved in one the other day with the Google recruiters, in which there was 5 Google recruiters and me, and anyone could watch it on their career site. And they had about 30,000 people watching it. So it's a very easy way to embed broadcast, plus it goes straight to YouTube and is saved on YouTube. So it's saved for editing straight away. So you're creating live content, but you're also curating content that you can use. And you can use it within Circles or Google Plus. And it's got all the Google Plus tools behind it for inviting people to get people to come. And it's free. So, I think if you want to be doing any kind of branding content, great for graduate recruiting where you get last year's students to talk live and you're embedding it, that's a tool really to look at. It doesn't cost you, and you can brand it around your Google Plus page. Next one is Reportive. Reportive for Gmail. Reportive is a great tool for sitting on your Gmail accounts. Also works with Outlook. Anyone who still uses Outlook. It's a Gmail and also a Chrome extension. What it will do is any email that you get, it shows you their social connections. So these people from your email, here's their LinkedIn, here's their Twitter, here's your Facebook. So you could start exporting people from Reportive into your CRM of saying, right, okay, I want to have multiple contact points with these candidates. It's location based, so you could also search it location wise. All the people I've connected with on Twitter who are in Slough, because we're hiring in Slough, so you can do good searches in it. And it gives you LinkedIn and other profiles. It will also say that you've been getting email correspondence from this person, but you're not connecting with them on LinkedIn. Do you want to send them an invite? Do you want to follow them on Twitter? And you can do all that from Reportive. So it's pretty cool, I think. Next one is, and it sounds really, really silly for me to say that this is a tool, but every recruiter, anyone in resourcing, should use Google Advanced Search rather than Google Search. Google Advanced Search is a form that you fill in. So you create your own Boolean strings without having to know, is that a plus, is that a minus, is it without? So it just gives you literally a form to say, these are the sites with these words, this type of document. I did one the other day for Python programmers, and we put Python, not snake, because it said what do you want to put in. Python programmers in London, within a location, curriculum vitae or CV, searching for that, and it came back with 150 CVs straight away. So it enables us to do all the advanced searches that the wizards tell you need to do Boolean operators, but do it in a simple format without needing to remember the pluses and the minuses and all that kind of stuff. So, and Google Advanced Search is open to everyone. So and you can save your searches, and what you do is you save your searches, not the results. So every time, if I want to do that search again tomorrow, I'm doing it in real time and getting a new set of results of anyone who's added overnight. And it's simple and intuitive. Anyone can use it, right? So I would say, if you don't use it, maybe you will do. If you don't use it, use Google Advanced Search.
Can I ask a question? Could you set up as an RSS feed for any new CVs that go in?
You can set up RSS feeds off it. You can feed into a database. You can build, off the back of it, you can go build custom search engine. So you can then take that and build your own search engine that always gives you the results.
So any new CVs that go
anything you want to do. And you can set updates off the back of it. There's so much you can do with Google that we just don't do, because we're just used to the single bar and we kind of think, well, if I need to go and do Boolean searches, I need to go and remember and do all this stuff and put brackets in the right way. You don't need to do it. If any of you want to learn Boolean search, by the way, so you understand how the system works, good idea. Code Academy is completely free. And if you do the Java version of Code Academy, you will learn Boolean search within about 7 minutes of doing it. Pretty simple, pretty simple. And I've run it with kids all the time. It's built for them, and they've learned Boolean search off the back of it. So that's cool. Emailextractorpro.com. I know. Sorry. There is a free version. There's a free version and an enterprise version. I really like this. I've tried lots of the email extractors. This is the one that I prefer. because it will extract emails from search engines, web pages and databases. So if I do a search, get the search results up and say, give me all the email addresses and names that I found, it will create an email list for me of all the people that came up in that search without me needing to go into each individual document. So very easy for me to create an email list of target people I want to reach. If I then want to take my email list and export that into something like the social CV, it will then give me all the social media contacts. This is where these people are on Twitter and LinkedIn. If they're on Twitter, I can put them in a Twitter list. Makes it so it's really simple to combine this stuff. It also verification for your accuracy. So when it gives you an email, it pings out and says, does it come back? Is it accurate? So it will test it for you to say the list that you've got works. And if it doesn't work, it will keep trying different variations. So it will look at how other emails in the company are named and structure it in the next way and test it for you. And so you end up with a completely clean list. You can do advanced keyword searches on it. It's got limiters and filters to say, I don't want these, but I do want those. And you can just export it and drop it into MailChimp or into your CRM or whatever you want to do. So, and you can do most of what you want on the free version. So I think that's pretty cool. Bullhorn Reach does certain things which I think for a free tool is excellent. There's three aspects to it. The aspect which most people use is probably the worst feature of the product, which is the job distribution. But that's very easy. What you actually do is you create a recruiter profile and add your jobs to it, which shares your jobs. You can customise the image and do it as you want. But the bits that I really like is Radar. Radar monitors all your LinkedIn connections. There's 5 internet behaviours on LinkedIn which tells me you're probably looking for a job, unless you're a recruiter. Right? If you're a normal human being, you don't change your profile, you don't update it, you don't go and get new connections, unless you're thinking about looking for a job. So it monitors all your LinkedIn connections, and every day it sends you a list to say, these people are probably in the market right now. Very powerful tool. The next one is Engage. So what do? If I'm trying to hire auditors, Engage, for example, Engage means I could post content about auditors into the social channels. So I'm posting content, not jobs, but there's a bar across the top that says that I've got these audit jobs if you want to have a look. So I'm using content as a bait, but my jobs are attached to my recruiter profile. So that's a pretty cool thing for the share bar. iTweet Live is another free application which you can search all of Twitter for anything, and you can filter your searches, but I'm searching for geek words or phrases referring to something. I get all those tweets back in a nice order, and I can reply to one of them, I can reply to 5 of them, 10 of them with a message individually. It gives me all the analytics to say, yeah, this person replied, that person didn't. So I can A/B test. I'll go, right, let's send this message out to 5, this message out to 5, this message out to 5, see which one's getting people open. By the way, in Twitter, if you put a link in the middle of your tweet, it is 5 times more likely to be open. Don't ask me why, but that's the analytics.
Sorry.
If you put the link in the middle rather than at the end,
Yeah.
it's 5 times more likely to be open in terms of what comes back. And you can make lists. Twitter lists I haven't got time to explain to you, but you should really get into Twitter lists because that's how you stalk people. If you happen to be old-fashioned and you're an Internet Explorer, there's an add-on, and as a disclaimer, I actually work with a company, one of the companies I advise built this, but it's an Internet Explorer add-on that lets you find the social profiles on any web page and email addresses and everything else. So if you look at companies, take them out and you can export them. You can do it on any web page, and it's another free download. You just go to Colleague IE and download that. Social Pro is probably my favourite Twitter application that I use for Twitter analytics. I use it for all Twitter search, and I use it for list building. Why I do list building is if I identify all my C++ programmers and I put them on a list, I can put them in a column in TweetDeck, which means I know everyone tweeting on this list is a C++ programmer or is a C++ programmer who works at Dell or HP. To tell you how we use that, we use it for 2 things. One is generate a word cloud, and it tells me the topics which the C++ programmers are talking about at the moment is this. So these are the conversations you want to have. The other thing is, give you a real simple example, we actually search the list for check-ins. Programmers and technical people have two things from all the lists that we run. Two things. One is, what do you think the most common topic is they talk about? Coffee. Guaranteed, you've heard this before. They will talk about guaranteed technical people do two things. Number one is they talk about coffee. Number two is they check in everywhere on Foursquare. So if you're searching your list for Foursquare check-in, by doing that in Dublin, we were able to identify from a competitor company, when I was working with the recruiters at Oracle, we were able to identify which Starbucks they checked in at, what time they checked in at, what coffee they were most likely to order, and we advertised on the bus stop outside, which said, fed up with your job, come and join us for a coffee. And it was really successful for people seeing it and saying. The other thing we did is got the recruiters to be there when people were in there and leave tips on Foursquare, right? And that was really, so I'm able to stalk and understand the behaviours, movements, actions, likes of my people. So Twitter lists, as a recruiter, are far more important to me than followers, far more important. Followers for engagement, great, in terms of branding, but when I want to recruit people, what are they talking about? What are they doing? Twitter list lets me do that. And Social Bro will do all my searches and build my list for me, and it will do it in an automated way that don't cost me any money. Right, so I kind of like all of those things. Sounds good to me. Falcon.io is a Twitter or TweetDeck application that just sits as one icon in your toolbar. It means if you hover over any name in Twitter, so if you're going through Twitter and you're just thinking, I wonder who that person is, they're coming up in my searches for the topic I'm talking about, just by hovering your mouse over it, it shows you all of their social profiles. This is a link to their LinkedIn profile. You don't see the profile, but you get the link. This is their Foursquare, this is their blog, this is their Twitter bio, this is what they tweet about, if there's anything on Clout about them, in terms of their influence, this is their Clout score, and you can export all that information at one click. You can save it somewhere and just go, that's an interesting person, let's stick them on a list or put them somewhere. So it means I could use Twitter in a live way. Next one is a paid for one, which is Talent Bin. Terrible name, great product. Talent Bin is US-centric, really, because it was built for developers and programmers, but there's lots of products coming out like this. And we're going to be seeing more of them in the UK, like Entello and Guild. Guild actually sources people by their computer code and assesses how good their computer code is ranked and looks at places like Stack Overflow. It has a data filter, a profile aggregator, so you'll see everything you need about a person from their informal stuff, and it gives you searchable data. The very last ones, which I'm going to give you for 30 seconds, that is the last one. So which brings us to the end. So that's 14. I'd probably look at about 30 of these a week. So I'll be around all day if anyone wants to talk to me about anything. But thanks very much.